December 26, 1996. The Ramsey home, adorned in festive splendor, should have breathed joy into the quiet Colorado night. Instead, a hush heavier than snowfall pressed against the walls. Inside, an ornate Christmas tree stood sentinel, its ornaments catching stray embers of lamplight. Beneath its boughs, gifts lay undisturbed, a scene starkly at odds with the nightmare unfolding just a staircase above. Patsy Ramsey, sleep-haunted and still in her holiday gown, lingered by the kitchen counter, absently straightening the flutes that had held champagne only hours before. The soft tick of the mantel clock was the only sound beyond her shallow breath. When the silence shifted, a subtle floorboard creak, her heart seized. "David," she whispered, voice taut. No answer came, only the hollow echo of her own panic. Drawn to the piano in the living room, Patsy's eyes darted to the half-eaten cookies and glass of milk that JonBenét had left for Santa, now vanished as though spirited away by unseen hands. A chill skated along Patsy's spine. She reached for the kitchen phone with trembling fingers, dialing 911 before realization could catch her mistake. The basement door, normally latched, stood yawning open in the hall's dim light. Footsteps racing, she descended, each step in eternity. The fluorescent bulb overhead flickered before yielding to full glare, exposing a scene that would forever blur the line between Yuletide magic and unthinkable terror. There, on the cold concrete floor, lay her 6-year-old daughter, swathed in a pale sleeper that clung to her like a ghost shroud. Christmas lights, strung above in some cruel parody of holiday cheer, cast dancing shadows across the room, illuminating the dark stains spreading beneath the child's still form. Patsy's scream shattered the night, ricocheting off cinderblock walls and ripping through the quiet streets outside. David Ramsey burst onto the scene, his polished shoes slipping on scattered tinsel as he fell beside his daughter. His hands shook violently as he searched for the faintest hint of life, found none. A guttural moan rumbled from his chest, and he collapsed against the wall, disbelief and grief frozen on his face. Moments later, the basement flooded with flashing blue and red as patrol cars and detective sedans converged on the Ramsey residence. Officers, their breath misting in the cold, moved with urgent precision, chalking footprints on the snowy earth beyond the basement windows, photographing every drop of blood, every loop of tinsel that littered the floor. In the kitchen, detectives gathered around a single sheet of lined notebook paper, pinned to the wall by an acidic, white pushpin. "You'll pay $118,000 in 24 hours. It read, each letter penned in neat, crimson, inked loops. "We have your daughter. No tricks. Knife." The words pulsed with menace, the writer's calm command in stark contrast to the chaos they had unleashed. Experts would later debate the handwriting's origins, the ink's peculiar chemical makeup, but in that moment, the ransom note was both salvation and curse, a slender thread of hope braided with dread. As dawn tinted the morning sky pink, news vans lined the Ramseys' driveway like invading phalanxes. Helicopters whirred overhead, their spotlights grazing the frost-tipped roof. On television screens across the world, cameras zoomed in on Patsy's tear-brimmed eyes and David's ashen countenance. Interviews began before the family could draw a full breath, each question another cut deeper than any blade. Inside the living room, the Christmas tree remained erect, its tinsel and lights mocking the tragedy at its roots. Neighbors spoke in hushed tones behind drawn blinds. A scream, a shadow slipping into the night, a family's nightmare birthed on a night of celebration. Rumors bloomed like fungus in damp light, whispers of an intruder with heinous intent, speculation of something darker, closer to home. Every theory tipped into the grotesque. Detectives scoured the house. A single red hair clutched in a railing, footprints faintly visible in the snow, fibers clinging to the hem of JonBenét's sleeper. Surveillance footage from a neighbor showed a dark shape moving behind frosted windows, but the image was too grainy to identify, too ambiguous to comfort. Each lead flickered out like a candle snuffed by a careless breeze. Weeks turned to months as the case file swelled. Suspect interviews, DNA analyses, polygraphs, press conferences. Yet the core mystery remained entombed in that basement's sterile chill. The ransom note, preserved in evidence lockers, refused to yield its author. Its penmanship was too precise, its spelling too correct, an enigma wrapped in loops of red that seemed to pulse with malevolence. Meanwhile, Christmases passed in a house forever altered. The annual tree was trimmed, ornaments hung with practiced care, but laughter never quite reached the branches. Patsy and David, locked in their personal purgatory, exchanged polite words, their eyes empty lanterns searching for solace. The porcelain doll that once watched over the staircase no longer held its innocent gaze. Its glass eyes seemed weary, burdened by the memory it silently bore. Outside, public fascination waned only to flare anew whenever speculation reignited. A documentary here, a cold case podcast there, each retelling a fresh scar on the collective memory. The Ramsey name, once synonymous with holiday cheer, became etched into the annals of unsolved tragedy. And always, the ransom note lingered as the case's cruelest flourish, a final flourish of a pen that sealed a girl's fate in loops of blood-red ink. 28 years later, the questions remain. Who tiptoed down those stairs on a fateful Christmas night? What truth lies hidden beneath the Ramsey floorboards? Justice has not forgotten, but neither has the cold silence that answered every plea. JonBenét's light, extinguished too soon, guides us still through a labyrinth of shadows. In the end, her story is a lantern in the dark, flickering, unyielding, and tragically beautiful.